All right, Bears faithful, gather round. This is Bears News Fan Report coming at you with something that might just send tremors through Halas Hall. Hit that like button and subscribe now so you never miss an insider scoop. It all started earlier this week, when whispers began swirling around Lake Forest. A prominent offensive coach, fresh off a season of gritty results and relentless drive, stepped up to the microphone and dropped a bombshell. He's looking for more. And not from just any organization. Imagine the tension in the room as he spoke of ambition, of high standards, and a burning desire to be part of something special. Is it possible that someone within the very walls of the Chicago Bears feels underappreciated? Could this be the first sign of a deeper unrest bubbling beneath the surface? For those watching closely, the timing couldn't be more dramatic. We're still basking in the afterglow of the draft, when this same coach was hailed as a mastermind, praised for elevating young talent and forging an offensive line that stood firm against some of the league's fiercest pass rushes. Yet now, just months later, he's publicly hinting that his vision for success might not be fully aligned with the Bears' current direction. Fans are wondering, what did he mean by searching for more? Was it a veiled reference to play-calling freedom, personnel decisions, or perhaps the pitfalls of a rebuilding roster? Behind the scenes, sources tell us that this coach, whose name we'll reveal in just a moment, has built a reputation as a relentless taskmaster. In meetings, he demands perfection. On the practice field, he pushes athletes to the brink of exhaustion in pursuit of that extra half yard of explosiveness. Some insiders believe he's quietly frustrated by an offensive roster still years away from peak cohesion. Others point to philosophical differences with the front office, suggesting that his blueprint for a high-octane attack may clash with a conservative approach to roster building. Could these tensions spell the end of a promising union? Let's set the stage. Last season, the Bears' offense sputtered at critical moments. Third down conversions dipped below league average, red zone efficiency stalled, and the line surrendered pressure on nearly 8% of pass snaps. Enter our coach, who was credited with tightening technique, revamping blocking schemes, and installing a more dynamic run-pass balance. His fingerprints seemed all over the modest improvements we saw late in the season, and fans lauded his film room adjustments as the key to a breakthrough. Yet, now that spotlight has shifted, spotlighting his own discontent rather than the team's progress. So, who is this man of intrigue? Drumroll, please. It's none other than Ben Johnson, the young offensive mind whose rapid ascent from assistant roles to coordinator gigs was the stuff of Sunday morning podcasts and coaching tree fever. Johnson was the architect behind one of the NFL's most efficient running attacks last year, and his rapport with young quarterback Caleb Williams was lauded as a glimpse of Chicago's bright future. But earlier today, Johnson admitted he's looking for an atmosphere that matches my hunger. When pressed for details, he smiled wryly and said, "I want all the tools and autonomy to build something historic." Now, you might ask, does that signal an impending departure? Could Johnson be angling for a new title, a heavier influence over roster decisions, or even a move to greener pastures where his vision is unquestioned? Fans are already theorizing that this public declaration is leverage for a bigger contract, or perhaps a hint that another franchise, one with Super Bowl aspirations, has made an enticing offer. Some whispers even suggest Johnson's camp is fielding overtures from teams in disarray, ready to hand him the keys to an offense craving identity. But before we jump to conclusions, consider the heroic narrative at play. Johnson arrived in Chicago, under the radar, armed only with fresh ideas and an unshakable belief in the power of innovation. He quickly endeared himself to players and the local media, operating like a coach on a quest, an underdog hero aiming to restore glory to a proud franchise. Could this outburst be part of the battle arc? A dramatic moment in his journey where he demands the resources to overcome the next obstacle? Or is it a desperate plea from someone who realizes the path ahead might be more treacherous than anticipated? As the sun sets over Soldier Field, The question remains on every fan's mind. Will Ben Johnson's ambition align with the Bears' vision, or will this public declaration mark the end of his chapter in Chicago? We're only in the opening act of this saga, and the stakes couldn't be higher for Johnson, for the Bears, and for every one of us rooting for a return to dominance in the NFC North. If you've been riveted so far, go ahead and smash that like button and hit subscribe to Bears News Fan Report. Trust me, you won't want to miss a beat of this unfolding drama. Picking up the narrative, let's dive into the potential fallout of Ben Johnson's bold remarks. If Johnson truly feels constrained by his current resources or philosophy clashes, the front office faces a pivotal choice: double down on his vision or move in another direction. Could Ryan Poles and company pivot, handing Johnson expanded personnel control or draft capital to reshape the offense? Imagine a scenario where the Bears trade up to secure a dynamic tight end or zone-running specialist, specifically because Johnson insisted these pieces are non-negotiable. Some league executives believe only a serious commitment to his blueprint will keep him invested long-term. But what if Chicago opts for damage control instead? If they decide Johnson's demands are too steep, we might see a parting of ways that echoes through the coaching fraternity. The ripple effect could be massive. An offensive system in limbo, players uncertain about play-calling nuances, and momentum stalled just as it was building. Without Johnson's film room innovations, could the Bears stumble back into the same pitfalls? Mismatches on third down, stalled red zone drives, and the unsettling feeling of tactical ambiguity? Fans are already conjuring up worst-case scenarios: offensive stagnation, locker room divisions, and a front office under fire for mismanaging a promising talent. Let's not forget the human element. Johnson's players have publicly praised his energy and creativity. Several veteran linemen credited his adjustments for drastically improving their performance late last season. If he departs, will those players follow him, or at least feel disillusioned enough to question their future in Chicago? The loyalty between coach and player is a currency that's hard to quantify, but easy to lose. Could a faction within the roster start campaigning quietly for Johnson's retention, leveraging social media or off-the-record comments to sway public opinion? If so, we could witness an all-out tug-of-war between the locker room and the boardroom, a storyline ripe for primetime drama. Of course, there's another enticing possibility. Johnson's public declaration is nothing more than a calculated gambit, a hero's demand for the final power-up before embarking on the ultimate quest. In storytelling terms, this is Act 2's midpoint twist, where our protagonist forces the antagonistic system to reveal its hand. Will Chicago rise to the challenge, granting Johnson the autonomy to call audibles at the line of scrimmage, design bespoke packages for speedsters like Darnell Mooney, and integrate a more ruthless play-action scheme? Or will they balk at relinquishing that much control, signaling that the era of top-down decision-making remains king? And let's not overlook the optics around the league. Other teams are surely watching. Should Johnson walk, expect rival franchises to come knocking with full offensive coordinator packages and promises of greater creative freedom. The Bears could find themselves in a bidding war, with clubs dangling draft picks and salary cap. Wiggle room as carrots. Could this moment mark the beginning of a revolving door era in Chicago's offensive staff? Or will the organization stand firm, crafting a message that loyalty and collaboration win out over individual edicts? As Chicago's faithful, we get to witness this high-stakes chess match in real time. Will the front office and coaching genius find harmony, or will this public plea become the catalyst for a seismic shift? One thing is certain: the next chapter in this saga will define the Bears' offensive identity for seasons to come, and shape Caleb Williams' early career arc. So, Bears Nation, here's where we leave the story for now. But I want to hear from you. Do you back Ben Johnson's quest for more autonomy, or do you trust the front office to chart the best course? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm fired up to read every one of them. If this deep dive got you thinking, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to Bears News Fan Report, and ring that notification bell so you're first in line for our next exclusive update. Until then, keep the faith, and as always, go Bears.